This is a show that will blow your mind, but it might not. It all depends. Do you like breakfast and a book with a friend? Hey everybody, starting this live video. I forgot my tea, so I'm walking to get tea. My poor lovely Ariel has on hold with unemployment. Hi babe. She's making that work though. We're making it happen. You gotta have some drinks. You can't have the no drinks when you have breakfast. No drinks with breakfast? That's crazy talk. So here we go. We're about to start. Breakfast and a book with Swallow. It's gonna be pretty exciting, guys. For one, I'm trying turkey bacon for the first time. I know, how have I lived this long and never tried turkey bacon? Because I eat regular bacon. But thank you to Sunrise Kitchens. I have some turkey bacon that I otherwise wouldn't have. And we don't, during the corona apocalypse, we don't let food go to waste, guys. That's right. So, the first thing we'll do is try this turkey bacon. But before we try the turkey bacon, let me tell you this, guys. I was reticent to try the turkey bacon after I opened it because it smelled like bologna. And you guys, bologna does not have a first name in my house. It has a "don't come into my house" name in my house. Yeah, no bologna. No bologna, guys. But after cooking it, it smells better. So now we're gonna try it. We will know the power or lack of power of turkey bacon. So let's try it out. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. It's not as good as real bacon. Real bacon is delicious and has such a unique taste, I guess. But turkey bacon, still solid. I also, of course, have the last bit of waffle from Sunrise Kitchens, the place that I used to work that gave me a bunch of food because they had to shut down. Coronavirus has pretty much put them out of business, which is a super bummer. They have another business going though, so they'll be all right. Today's book, we talk about Orson Scott Card, the book Seventh Son, which is the Tales of Alvin Maker. It's book 1. Try dipping in maple syrup, makes it better. Oh, you know what? We will try that. We got a little maple syrup on our waffle here. Yeah, maple syrup makes everything better. Good idea. So, look, as we get started talking about Orson Scott Card and his books, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that in 2014, when Ender's Game came out, which is his most popular series, and probably his best work, let's be real, he did say some stupid shit about gay people. And then when people were like, hey, we're not going to see your movie because of this, he was like, hey, be tolerant. Like, no, we're not going to be tolerant of your stupid opinions. That being said, his writing is phenomenal. And so it just feels okay to... what is my cat attacking? I hope that's not a live thing. My cat is attacking something over there, guys. Should we go check that out? No, it's fine. But beside that, he is a good writer. And he does tell stories, a little couched in LDS attitudes. Like, in Ender's Game, he says, when you truly know your enemy is when you learn to love them. So that's like Mormons for you. That being said, though, the writing in this and the creativity that Orson Scott Card brings to all of his writing is very impressive. So let's read the back of the book, because that's how we do it. Come fall in love with a magical America that might have been. Using the lore and folk magic of the men and women who helped settle a continent and beliefs of the tribes who were here before them, Orson Scott Card has created an alternate frontier America where folk magic works and has colored the entire history of the colonies. It is into this world amid the deep wood where the red man still holds sway that a very special child is born. The red man? I don't know. That's okay. Let's see. So just to give you an idea, this guy is born the seventh son of a seventh son of a seventh son, or something along those lines. Because of that, he gets sort of the ability to sort of shape things and has magic, and he can kind of like has a sentience and a third, like an ability to sort of sense what's going on around him. So that's kind of cool stuff. I like that. Throw some magic stuff. Hey, Ash. We're going to have Ash come over here. You guys are going to meet Ash. It's going to be awesome. Red man sounds racist. It does sound racist. Hey, Ash. Oh, Ash is being squirrely. She will not come visit us, I don't think. All right. No Ash today. She took off, guys. Sorry about that. It was worth a try. All right. So let's open up the book and see where we're at. So you guys know I love to, when I'm looking for new books, I open up in the middle and I check it out. I got these books because I read Ender's Game first, and then I bought all of these other ones. Ash is adorable. She's right here, but she will not let me pick her up right now. I don't think. I think she's looking for a bug. She loves to chase bugs. Come here, Ash. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, no. She's not in the mood for being picked up. I don't know why I keep trying this, guys. This is weird TV, and I hope you're enjoying it anyways. So let's open up to the middle of the book and read some stuffs. Since the sun was low in the west, they set to laying the fire. Work had kept them warm today, but tonight they needed the fire to back off the animals and keep the autumn cold at bay. Miller didn't come down, even at supper, and when Com got up to carry food up the hill to his father, Tailswapper offered to come along. I don't know, said Com. You don't need to. I want to. Pa, you don't like lots of people gathered at the rock face times like this. Com looked a little sheepish. He's a miller, and it's his stone getting cut there. I'm not a lot of people, said Tailswapper. Com didn't say anything more. Tailswapper followed him up among the rocks. On the way, they passed the sites of 2 early stone cuttings. The scraps of cut stone had been used to make a smooth ramp from the cliff face to ground level. The cuts were almost perfectly round. Tailswapper had seen plenty of stone cut before, and he'd never seen one cut this way, perfectly round, right in the cliff. Most times it was a whole slab they cut, then rounded on the ground. There were several good reasons for doing it that way, but the best of all was that there was no way to cut the back of the stone unless you took a whole slab. Com didn't slow down for him, so Tailswapper didn't have a chance to look closely, but as near as he could tell, there was no possible way that the stonecutter in this quarry could have cut the back of that stone. It looked just the same at the new site, too. Miller was raking chipped rock with a level ramp in front of the millstone. Tailswapper stood back and in the last specks of daylight studied the cliff. In a single day, working alone, Al Jr. had smoothed the front of the millstone and chipped away the whole circumference. The stone was practically polished, still attached to the cliff face. Not only that, but the center hole had been cut to take the main shaft of the mill machinery. It was fully cut. And there was no way in the world that anybody could get a chiseling position to cut the way at the back. That's some knack the boy has, said Tailswapper. Miller grunted assent. Hear you plan to spend the night up here, said Tailswapper. Heard right. Mind company, asked Tailswapper. Com rolled his eyes. But after a little bit, Miller shrugged. Suits yourself. You should at least start at the beginning of a middle chapter, or still middle of the book, or the last paragraph of a chapter. Though that was a pretty good random bit. Yeah, that's the whole point of opening up to the random bit. When you open up to the random bit, you get an idea. If you can get a feel of the writer's style and flow, then you really have a chance to understand their writing, I think. So, yes, you may get I only usually read like a page or page and a half in the middle of the book. But you're right. You could do it from the beginning too. Let's start it off from the beginning, you guys. We're gonna read the beginning of a book, yeah. It's gonna be pretty exciting. By the way, I just want to talk about how important reading is. I know that sometimes when we're on here, it's a weird show, and I'm reading you a book and talking about it and all that good stuff. But reading is important. The reason reading is important is because it makes you smarter. You learn more words. It helps your creative brain flow. On top of the fact that it puts you in a different world for a little while, where you can sort of live somewhere else and be in that moment, and let the cares of the world, let work be on the back burner, let the stresses of the world be on the back burner, because in that moment you're in the world of the page, of the writer's world, especially when they're a good writer. And this guy, Orson Scott Card, is a good writer. He just is. He absolutely is a good writer. He has a master's degree in English. He's a very smart person. Yes, he's a Mormon. And look, Mormonism as a religion is the weirdest shit in the world. It's so clearly made up. Oh yeah, vocabulary. Big part of it. I obviously have my opinion about most religions. I think most of them are pretty much hokey. So, but this one is pretty. I don't know how you could hear the story of Joseph Smith and go, "Oh yeah, this guy's totally telling the truth. He found magic slabs, but only he can read them, and not only that, but like he lost them. So just believe him. He's just telling you that. So you just believe him. That's how religion works. You just believe the guy, okay? Don't question. Anyways, so let's get back to the beginning of this book. Basically what I was saying is reading, and also I would say reading helps your critical thinking skills. You may not think it specifically helps your critical thinking skills, but it super does. Because just by constantly being focused and having to understand the plot, understand where things are going, you can start to see patterns of things. As soon as you can start to see patterns of things, you start learning about critical thinking, and when you start learning about critical thinking, you can see the patterns and go, oh yeah, those patterns don't mean what my biased brain would like them to mean, but they probably mean what this reported bazillions of people have reported as the truth is possibly the truth type of thing. Critical thinking. So let's listen to, let's read let us. I am going to read from the first chapter of the book, right at the beginning. We're going to start it. It's called Bloody Mary. Little Peggy was very careful with the eggs. She rooted her hand through the straw till her fingers bumped something hard and heavy. She gave no never mind to the chicken drips. After all, when folk with babies stayed at the roadhouse, Mama never even crinkled her face at the most spectacular diapers. Even when the chicken drips were wet and stringy and made her fingers stick together, little Peggy gave no never mind. She just pushed the straw apart, wrapped her hand around the egg, and lifted it out of the brood box. All this while standing tiptoe on a wobbly stool, reaching high above her head. Mama said she was too young for egging, but little Peggy showed her. Every day she felt in every brood box and brought in every egg, every single one. That's what she did. Janet Sarver says, hey, I've known some great Mormons. Joseph Smith, yeah, like L. Ron Hubbard, laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah, absolutely. And I know tons of great Mormons. In fact, I would honestly say that Mormons, for the most part, when they're not talking about their actual religion or saying negative stuff about gay people or being racist like back in the day, they've finally cleaned that up a little bit. But otherwise, Mormons themselves are very nice people and polite. To a point where you're almost a little uncomfortable. But I'm okay with that. Being polite to an uncomfortable degree is better than being an asshole to an uncomfortable degree, I would argue. So, there you go. And welcome, Carol. You came in the middle, so I've already read from Seventh Son a few times. But I do want to talk about the creativity that comes out of Orson Scott Card's brain. He definitely is an interesting dude. His writing is It's well thought out. It's tight, and it gets into character a lot. I would say one of the things that he's great at is being able to put the character on page so that you really get where that character is, and also a uh, a feeling of environment. So, like in those pages that we read, we now know that he has set up just a sort of a rural uh, a rural type feeling to what they're things. Pay no, never mind. A milling and like getting into your job in a fierce way is like a big deal in these types of things. Understanding where you're coming from, where you're living, how the best way to make a living in, and best way to get along in your environment is. And he's great at that. He does. That's a through line, and I would say in most of his books. If you have ever checked out Ender's Game or all of the series of Ender's Game, you would know that making way in your environment and adjusting to wherever you're at to make things work is like a big deal in his books. So you should definitely check out Orson Scott Card. I don't know if I feel okay with you like giving him money anymore. So if there's a way you can borrow the books, get them from the library or something like that, I would do that. So that way he doesn't get no more money in his bank account for saying weird stuff about gay people. But his writing is good. So if you want to enjoy a good book that is well written, that's fast paced, and like I said, really builds an environment. Because when you're reading his books, you are literally, you can feel the rural, like, emotions and theme almost. Environment. I mean, just the environment of it is like, you're in it. So that's a big deal. My friend Christina says, too bad he had all that anti-stuff back in the day. He's a fascinating writer, and he really gets into his work. I read a book by him called Lost Boys, and it's fascinating. If you're into early computing, he's pretty masterful. Yeah, exactly, Christina. That's kind of what we were talking about. He is a great writer. It's super interesting. Like I said, I think one of the most interesting things is that I didn't mean... Somebody said, I didn't mean to imply you should start from the very beginning. I meant the beginning of a middle chapter, as I too sometimes like to flip to the middle to get the feel for the flow of the writing. Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually like reading the first page as well. I think the first page as well is because, you know, if a writer can't grab you in that first paragraph, he's probably not going to grab you at all. So, you know, anybody who's ever been taught anything about writing knows that you better grab your reader as fast as you can, because if you don't, you can say bye to the sales of your book. So I would argue that you can do that as well. And yeah, Christina, this guy all the anti stuff that he did back in the day kind of ruined it. And then the problem with that is then you'll start reading some of his books. Like back here, he calls them Red Man, and you're just like, oh man, don't no, like, you know. But again, he has a fascinating idea of how things flow, and you can, like I said, you just feel like you're in the realm that he's created, and I like that a lot. Yeah, Alex said she loves when a writer can really use words to make a picture you can actually see, envision, and see. Yeah, absolutely. And this guy does that, but also, like I said, it's not just that you can envision where you're at, but you can. It's almost like you're in it. Which is a big deal. Like you can feel the rural coming off of the pages. You can feel the little bit of primitive, old school, you know, 1700s type of feel to it. Wild West, but not Wild West, more like Wild Frontier, where you're just learning to live off the land and all of that stuff. So, like I said, go to the library and check out Orson Scott Card. Obviously, don't go to the library. You can check out books via the library through, I believe, through Kindle. A tangible writer. Yes, perfect. A tangible writer. He's a tangible writer. You can. It's literally, yeah, perfect. Tangible. My friend Alex said tangible. That is the perfect way to describe it. So, like I said, check out his books. Do it. Go to the library on the internets and get one sent to your phone or your tablet if you're a tablet reader, or your laptop if you're a person who reads on a laptop. I did that for a while. I gotta admit to you, I didn't like it. It was not a good way to read. But I don't mind reading on my phone or a Kindle. So, or a Nook, whatever you're into. I'm not gonna judge you guys. You want a Kindle, you want to use a Nook, you do your thing, all right? So thank you for listening. I appreciate everybody who's doing this, showing up, putting comments, keeping this flowing. I enjoy talking about books, so I'm pretty excited that I'm doing it. I hope the whole goal of this is to just kind of give you guys some entertainment, and then hopefully you check out some different authors or reread some of the authors that you love, because you got the time right now. Get out there, read books, keep bookshops open, order like once we open up, go to your local bookshop. Don't be buying from some big old book mega corporation store. Go to your little small bookshop called like Foundation of Books or whatever they're called. We have one called the Iliad. It's awesome. Great used bookstore. If you're in California, Los Angeles, the Valley, go check it out because it's a great bookstore once we are allowed to go out and about. I'd suggest you go pick up. Also, they have super cheap books for like $2, $3, stuff like that. So, as always, thank you. Oh, before we go though, almost forgot to tell you guys the stuffs, the important stuffs. We have a new Reboot It coming out this Wednesday. I believe it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. We made a reboot of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and it is phenomenal. We also just put out our Power Rangers Reboot It. So if you are enjoying watching videos to keep yourself entertained, go to YouTube and then put in Reboot It. And you can also subscribe to me on YouTube, where you'll get to see these videos as well. And we're also going to put out, Errol and I are going to put out something called Positive Spin, where we talk about movies in a positive light. We tell you the cool stuff from the movies, rather than being like, oh, this movie was bad because of this, and it was not good because of this, and blah, blah, blah. We just go, hey, this is a part we liked. This specific scene really stood out to me. Or, I liked this character. This character made me laugh. Whatever. We're going to bring it out. We're going to talk positive, because people work very hard on films, and I feel like they deserve a little bit of credit. Even when overall the movie's not good, we can still talk about the positive aspects of each movie and learn from the positive aspects of each movie. So that will be called Positive Spin. And that'll be on the YouTube channel, Ron Swallow YouTube channel, pretty soon. Also, check out Nerd Goat, the podcast with Ed Greer and I, where we talk about people's favorite fictional characters of all time. That's part of the beginning of it. So get on there, check it out. If you listen to podcasts, it's on iTunes, called Nerd Goat. If you want to support Nerd Goat and support Ed Greer and I, you can get it on Nerd Goat Patreon. So it's patreon.com/nerdgoatpodcast. $7 tier gets you art that is excellent from Ed and Bill, and art that looks like an edgy 8th grader's art for me. And then you also can get extra podcasts on there, where you get a little more personal stuff from Ed Greer and I, from talking about AI to talking about what we wanted to be when we grew up. All that kind of cool stuff. So that's all the extra stuff I do. I appreciate you guys being supportive and in supporting the arts. I appreciate that we're surviving during this pandemic, and that I've got books to read. So many books to read. Bam. So be safe out there, and thank you for listening to another episode of Breakfast and a Book with Swallow.